you in such a way that you'll have an intellectual vertigo and you recognize for a moment your worldview rests on pudding. That's what great art can do. And we haven't even got to Beethoven's Ode to Joy. We haven't even got to Duke Ellington's Black and Beige, or Mary Lou Williams' Black Christ of the Andes. That's what happens at its best at Point Loma Nazarene University. Absolutely.
You know, I know you've taught at Yale, Harvard, Princeton, University of Paris, Union Theological Seminary. What I've neglected to tell you that this is sort of a job interview.
The most loving and joyful one I've had in my life. You should know that.
And let me just say, you're doing fine.
I appreciate that, my brother.
So,
but I should say this, I think probably the most empowering place I've actually taught is for 41 years in prisons.
Why?
Because the brothers challenge me, you know, they really do. And none of them are really concerned about letters of recommendation. You know what I mean? There's no, there ain't no kind of careerist element going on. It's just genuine.
It's no resume hits going
There's
on.
no resumes and things, because I kind of specialize in the brothers who are on either death row or there with no parole, you see. And so we read Plato, we read Augustine's Confessions, we read. Their favorite text actually is Waiting for Godot by the Irish genius named Samuel Beckett. What they gonna do with time? What does it mean to be in temporal conditions in which you're fighting to make sure time doesn't use you, but you use time in such a way that you can become a force for good in time, even though you're still in prison. Because remember, Kafka says all of us have a death sentence in space and time. That's true. And some of the brothers in those prisons are much freer than many folk I know outside of prison. Because they still got psychic bondage, they got spiritual bondage, forms of addiction that lead towards self-flagellation and self-destruction. They're just not in prison in that specific way. Because there's a whole lot of folk in different silos in our society who are deeply, deeply in captivity, spiritually, psychically, personally, ideologically, and so forth, you see. So that being multi-contextual, which is always more important to me than multicultural. You see, because when you really shift to very different contexts, that's where the challenge takes place. You see, a lot of the dialogue these days about multicultural is multicultural among the professional managerial class. And they got a lot in common. Narcissism, careerism, opportunism, well-adjusted to injustice. Not all of them, but too many of them, you see. Whereas multicultural means, multi-contextual means, you know, you're teaching with the kindergartners. You see, they're not worried about letters of recommendation either. You see what I mean? They looking at you, and they want to know, how much does this brother really care about us, even as he's teaching us these little rhymes and things. Well, see, that's what teaching in its broader sense is all about, touching folk wherever they are.
So if you were in charge of everything.
Everything.
If you were, and it just seems like in today's way of dialogue, everybody is sort of spring-loaded on outrage. How would you address the polarization, the quick jump to a conclusion, the hostility? How, if you were king, how would not Martin Luther King? If you were king, how would you fix it?
This is the most deaf moment if I rule the world, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate your bringing that up, because, you know, I draw my questions from everywhere.
Exactly. I love
exactly.
Your multicultural sources kicking in like this. But I mean, no, I think the first thing I would do is that I would disqualify myself as one person, and I would try to bring others in, so we would always be collective, always collective. Now, in addition to that, what I would do is that I would say, given the cracked vessels we all are, that we've got to have forms of education. We've got to have forms of civic life where we focus on the great exemplars of those who came before, not just individuals, but of institutions and movements. You see. So I would make sure that people would gain access to the examples of Irene B. West and Fannie Lou Hamer. How did they still learn how to keep loving in such a dim world? Where did they get this spiritual resource? Dorothy Day, how did you do it, my vanilla sister Catholic? You know what I mean? So that examples then become the kind of a center around which then discussions flow in terms of what virtues are and why is courage the precondition of all the other virtues, the enabling virtue of the other virtues, and how do we cultivate courage? I was just in San Francisco just yesterday. We were talking about Mary Ellen Pleasant. You know, she was the first black woman who was a multi-millionaire in the 1850s. She was before Sister Walker. She married a white robber baron. He died, and she got his money. You see. And what did she do? She created all these places for the homeless. This is where it overlapped with the Church of Nazarene later on in Los Angeles with the USC second president and so forth. Brother
Dude,
Joseph.
you did your homework. You know about us.
Oh, no, I've had some dreams about the Church of the Nazarene now. Oh, yeah. Anybody concerned about the homeless and the poor and the marginal in the name of Jesus? Oh, you got to keep track now. Oh, Phineas too.
Here he is, right here. That's
No.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah, that's him.
You got to be kidding.
No.
We talking about you, brother. You got to be kidding. He been checking us out the whole time.
To the uninitiated, this is our founder right here, Phineas F. Brizzi. Right.
Isn't that something? And he wasn't convinced that the sisters really could pull it off. He was reluctant, wasn't he? He was hesitant. But he said, okay, go on and do it. They asked him to be president in 1902. He said, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you even got the year right.
Lord, Lord, Lord. But the thing is about this ruling the world. No, it's true. That we would need these examples, and then it would be the great scientists who provide the breakthroughs of trying to reduce evidence to allow us to infer that we can make claims that keep track of the complexity of nature, not by reducing nature to an it, to dominate it and squeeze out all we can for money and greed, but to have an I-thou relation with nature, because we ourselves are continuous with nature. We are natural animals made in the image of a God with a language much more complicated than some, but the elephants also bury their dead just like we do. And they mourn, and they cry, and they moan. So you think the Latin, humando, that's where humanity comes from the Latin word humando. And humando means burial in Latin, right? That we are the kind of creatures on the way to the culinary delight of terrestrial worms who bury our dead. To ascribe significance, to connect us, the quick and the breathing, to the dead. And those voices, great examples, not just as isolated individuals, but of networks of families and communities and so forth. I mean, I've always thought that, if I'm a philosopher of anything tied to love and justice, it's one who has a profound piety when it comes to family